This is a Sales Geek Academia to Business Translation production. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to tear down one of the biggest myths in sales leadership.
The really expensive one.
Really expensive one, yeah. It's this assumption that if you want to keep your best people, you just throw more money at them.
Yeah.
Bigger checks, flashier rewards.
Right. The standard playbook.
Right.
Focus on those extrinsic rewards.
Yeah.
But the study we're looking at today suggests that if you only do that, you're fighting a losing battle against turnover.
So money matters, obviously, but it's not the whole story.
Not even close. It's not the bedrock of what keeps someone in the profession for the long haul.
And that's exactly what this study gets into. It asks a really fundamental question. What is it that truly keeps a great salesperson in the profession, not just, at their current company?
It's looking for what they call the love of selling.
The love of selling. And they created this great persona to embody it, right? Paulette,
yeah. She's the one who gets a notification for a new lead while she's at lunch. And she's not just finishing her sandwich. She's practically pushing it aside because she can't wait to get back and make that call.
She's smiling just thinking about the conversation itself.
Exactly. It's that immediate, joyful reaction to the act of selling. That's the intrinsic motivation we're talking about.
So let's just pause there. Why is this distinction so critical for a sales leader listening right now?
It's all about cost and stability.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, salesperson turnover is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just ruinously expensive. You've got recruiting costs, training, ramp time.
Mm-hmm.
And this study focuses on professional commitment. And that's the key. We're not talking about whether they're loyal to your company.
Just to you.
Right. We're talking about their intention to stay in sales, period. If you can foster that intrinsic love, you stop talent from leaving the industry altogether, not just, walking across the street to your competitor.
Okay, so let's unpack the two big forces they studied. On the one hand, you have the stuff we all know.
Extrinsic rewards.
The commissions, the bonuses, the trip to Hawaii, getting your name on a plaque, the external stuff.
And on the other side, you have that love of selling. The academic definition is something like a passionate interest in work, a deep level of enjoyment and involvement.
It's the joy you get from doing the job itself.
Surely that, regardless of the payday at the end.
And this is where it gets really interesting. They didn't just stop at, do you like your job? They broke that intrinsic drive down into three specific drivers.
They did. And it lines up perfectly with Herzberg's motivation theory, which basically says true satisfaction comes from achievement.
Okay, so what were the three?
First was the joy of the challenge. So think about a really complex deal, not a simple transaction.
The messy ones.
The messy ones, exactly. The ones with 5 different VPs who all want different things. The reward isn't just the signature at the end. It's the feeling of, wow, I navigated that.
It's the puzzle, the mental chess game of it all.
Precisely. Second was the pleasure of just exercising your selling skills. That feeling you get when you use your chops.
I know that feeling.
Right. You perfectly handle a tough objection, or you come up with a really creative solution. You feel good because you did the thing you're good at and you did it well.
And the third one?
The enjoyment of improving those skills. Just knowing you're better today than you were last month, learning from a mistake and nailing it the next time. All three of those, challenge, skill, and improvement, are internal.
So to test all this, they did a big survey, right? Over 300 salespeople, and then interviews.
Yeah, 348 in the survey, and then 20 deep dive interviews to get the why. And they used a really clever sorting question. Basically, when you get a hot lead, is your first reaction excited, I love selling, or is it pleased, it's a chance for recognition and money?
And what was the split?
It was pretty overwhelming. About 78% of the salespeople fell into that love selling category.
Wow, so almost 4 out of 5.
Yep. Which brings us to the real retention bombshell. They asked both groups, would you leave the field of selling for another job that paid just as well?
And the difference was?
It was huge.
Mm-hmm.
On a 7-point scale, the love selling group scored a 4.09, meaning they were much more likely to stay. The rewards focused group, they averaged just 2.77.
That is a massive gap. So the people driven by money are, almost 50% more likely to jump ship if something else comes along with a similar salary.
That's exactly. The people who love the craft, they're just stickier. They're more committed to the profession itself.
And that ties into how they see themselves, too.
It does. The love selling group rated their own skills as significantly better than the other group did, and they placed way more importance on having those skills in the first place.
It creates this feedback loop I love the work, so I get better at it, which makes me feel good, which makes me want to stay.
That's the retention engine right there.
Okay, but here comes the really critical paradox. The finding that, I think, should make every sales leader listening just pause for a second. When they looked at actual performance,
Yeah.
Quota attainment, overall success.
There was no significant difference.
Wait, say that again? There was no real difference in performance.
None that was statistically significant.
All this passion and love for the job doesn't actually make you a better salesperson than the person who's just in it for the commission check. That seems completely wrong.
It feels wrong,
Yeah.
but the researchers explain it really well. Both groups get to success, they just take different roads.
Okay.
The extrinsically motivated person is driven by pressure, the fear of failure, the pull of the big reward. That pressure works, it drives performance, but it's stressful, it's volatile.
And the love-selling person.
They're driven by engagement. They don't see the prep work as a chore. The negotiation isn't a battle, it's a game. So they put in the time and the practice, and they perform at a high level because they enjoy the process.
So the outcome is the same, but the underlying emotional state is totally different.
Exactly. And that's the key for management. The point isn't that intrinsic drive creates a superstar performer who outsells everyone. The point is that it dramatically reduces the risk that your consistent, high-performing people are going to quit. It's about stability.
It's about building a team that lasts, not just a team that hits the quarterly number.
That is the game changer.
We're pausing to remind you to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast.
All right, so let's go a little deeper into that 78% who said they love selling. Because even within that group, there were important differences.
So not all love of selling is created equal.
Not quite. They found that if you loved selling, but your main focus was still on the eventual payoff, you were still more likely to think about leaving than someone who loved selling for the challenge or the skill itself.
So it's about what part of the process you love most.
Yes. And when they asked what people liked best about their job, 39% of the love sellers chose one thing. The challenge. They just relished the complexity. That proved to be the single strongest predictor of long-term commitment to the profession.
And the interviews, I bet, really brought that to life.
Oh, absolutely. When they asked for an example of an enjoyable experience, nobody talked about their bank account.
What did they talk about?
They talked about using their chops to save a deal at the 11th hour, or answering crazy questions and feeling like they really had to be creative to educate a customer.
There was a lot about connection too, right?
So much. Things like a customer saying, "You made this so easy," or feeling like a mentor to a client. One person even got invited to dinner by a customer who was just so grateful.
Those are the things you remember, the non-monetary wins.
Definitely. But then the study takes a really sharp turn, and it exposes this huge disconnect with management.
Okay.
The researchers asked these same passionate salespeople, what does your company do to increase your enjoyment of selling?
And the answers weren't about more training or bigger challenges.
Not at all. The focus immediately shifted from the joy of selling to pure frustration. This is where Hertzberg's hygiene factors come in.
Right. The idea that some things don't make you happy, but their absence makes you absolutely miserable.
That's it. They're the basics you have to get right. Instead, here you go, motivators. The researchers just got a list of complaints.
What were the big ones? What was getting in the way of the love of selling?
Number one was repetitive paperwork. Entering the same data in 3 different systems. Slow, old technology.
The spinning wheel of death on the CRM.
You know it. And, crucially, compensation anxiety. A lot of these people were commission only, which meant in a slow month, they were basically making minimum wage. That's a huge stressor. And of course, micromanaging was high on the list.
So the takeaway here is pretty stark. You can go out and hire Paulette, the perfect, intrinsically motivated salesperson. But if you make her deal with a clunky CRM and financial anxiety every cent a day, that love for the job just isn't enough.
It won't outweigh the daily dissatisfaction. You have to clear away the dissatisfiers first. The love of the game only matters if the game is, playable.
So let's translate this. What does a sales leader do on Monday morning? It sounds like there's a dual focus.
There is. First, you have to reduce the roadblocks. That means fixing the compensation so people aren't living in fear. A decent base salary isn't a motivator, it's a hygiene factor. It lets people breathe.
And fix the tech.
And fix the tech. Do an audit. If your team is wasting an hour a day on administrative friction, you are actively burning money and goodwill.
Okay, so that's clearing the path. What about the other side? Fostering the love.
Well, the research showed that these people rate their skills very highly. So continuous training is good, but the real opportunity is to vocally appreciate the skill, not just the final number.
So instead of just saying, great job on that 50K deal,
You say, the way you handled that negotiation was masterful. I saw how you listened to their real concern and pivoted. That was skillful. You're validating their craft, and that feeds that intrinsic loop of achievement.
which also changes how you hire.
Completely. Since the challenge were the biggest predictor of commitment, you should lean into that. Stop writing job descriptions that only talk about high earning potential.
Talk about the problems they'll get to solve.
Yes, frame the role around the difficulties, the complexity, highlight the joy of cracking a tough nut as a key benefit. You'll start attracting the Paulettes.
So the final synthesis here is, it's not really about making one group perform better than the other, because they perform pretty similarly.
It's about stability.
Right. You minimize the frustrations, the hygiene factors, and you maximize the satisfaction from skill and challenge. And the result is you maximize retention. You build a durable team.
The path to keeping that superstar who's excited to make a call isn't paved with a bigger check alone. It's paved with appreciation for her craft and clearing all the junk out of her way so she can actually do it.
Okay, so let's wrap this up with 3 really concrete takeaways for sales leaders, things you can start thinking about today. Number 1, stop the leak. Address the hygiene. Do a real audit of your administrative burdens. Streamline the CRM. Upgrade the slow tech. And seriously consider a safety net or a competitive base pay to take that crippling anxiety off the table.
2, appreciate the craft. Commend the skill. Make it a practice to go beyond just praising the quota. Publicly or one-on-one, call out a specific moment of skillful performance. Praise the how, not just the what.
And 3, hire for grit. Emphasize the challenge. Rework your job descriptions and your interview questions. Frame the role around the complex problems that need solving. You'll attract people who are energized by the challenge, not just the commission.
This has been another Sales Geek Academia to Business Translation production.